Natalie coming to you live, Spirit and Coffee. Got my coffee here. Yum, yum, yum. Mm, so yummo. Okay, started. I know it's a little bit later than normal, and it's funny how patterns repeat themselves because a year ago today I said the same thing. I'm starting a little later than normal. Um, Year ago today I was in Durango, and for those of you who've been following me for quite some time, you know that I lived in Durango for about a year, and little less than a year, but almost a year. And in Durango, was beautiful. I liked it, but it was a little small for my big personality. I like a lot of big. Okay, so let's go here and talk about the four agreements. I want to make sure that we get through this book, and you know me, I can talk, 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 and sometimes never read. Okay, good morning, Carrie on Podbean. Pull my shirt up a little bit. You can hear me a little better. I'm not sure who's on here. Some of the normal followers probably can't get on here because typically I do it at like 6:30 in the morning, and other people are probably at work, and so whatever. So it's probably like that. Okay, let's get going. Whoever shows up gets to show up and hear the beautiful message of what we have to say today, or I, or us. If you guys chime in, which I'd love for you guys to chime in. Okay, so we have been talking about not taking things personal. We are on the second agreement on the four agreements, and really trying to dive in and understand how do we utilize this bit of information in our life so that it's useful, meaningful, and has purpose. Otherwise, why do we do it, right? It wouldn't make sense for us to do follow these four agreements without actually living into them or using them, utilizing them for our greater good or for our greater purpose. Okay. Um, so here we go. So if someone is not treating you with love and respect, it is a gift if they walk away from you. If that person doesn't walk away, you will surely endure many years of suffering with him or her. Walking away may hurt for a while, but your heart will eventually heal. Then you can choose what you really want. You will find that you don't need to trust others as much as you need to trust yourself to make the right choices. This is a critical passage simply because we have a hard time of letting go. We have a hard time of letting go of things. Okay. And it's hard for us because we think things are going to change. Here's the deal. I tell everybody that I talk to, if you, let's say you've been in a relationship and you think that person's going to change, they're not. It's not going to happen. Um, if the person has been exhibiting the same behaviors for 5 years and you're all of a sudden think they're going to change, it's not how it works. Change takes time, it takes intention, it takes focus, it actually takes you working upon it. So if somebody's not actively working on changing, they're not going to. They'll drop into their subconscious behaviors and continue. So you get to choose, do I love this person for who they are? Do I love this person exactly the way they are? And if I do, then I get to just deal with it. Otherwise, you get to walk away. Now, if you don't walk away, you're saying, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with being treated this way. I'm okay with whatever it is. I'm okay with being ill treated, mistreated, stomped on. That's what you're saying. I'm okay with it. Because people won't change, and we know this. We say it every day, and people do. They'll say, I know I can't change anybody, but yet we sit there and try to change people, myself included. And I've realized, like, no, I can't. Good morning, Paul. And this becomes so difficult for us, right? Why? Because we can see, it's easier for us to see on the outside looking in, right? We can see people's mishaps or mistakes or, so, but it's harder for us to see our own. So what do we get to do? Turn the finger, point it inward. Start looking at yourself. That is the only way things will change, is if you change you. Like, I'm done. I've got to walk away from this. This is not serving my higher purpose. This is not good for me. And does it hurt? Yes. And that's the big kicker. We go like, well, why does it hurt us to walk away from things? Like, why does it hurt for me to walk away from this person who is treating me like caca, like doo doo? Let's see, but people also get upset when you don't give them a chance. Yes, and it's kind of is it Tamanda? That's the cool name. Yes, okay, and thank you. Good morning, Margot. This is Tamanda. She's quoting on Facebook or saying something on Facebook. Um, Here's the deal. Okay, so first of all, based on the four agreements and based on my belief system, not saying that you have to. Good morning, Nicole. That you have to believe this. However, it will cause you a lot of. It will help you not to be in so much suffering, basically. And really, we're out to what? Minimize our suffering. We can't minimize other people's suffering. Okay, so I'm going to start there, and I'm also going to tell you that I have my sister is the same way. Give people chances. Now, I'm not saying not to give people chances. That's not it. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes we make mistakes. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Okay. Good morning, Gabby. Good morning, Deborah. And in the mistakes that we made, yes, we want to be forgiven. And yes, we have the opportunity to forgive. Okay. And in that forgiveness, sometimes we're like, okay, I'm going to give you another shot. Right. And then they do it again. And then they do it again. And then they do it again, 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 again. And when is enough enough? Now, that's up to you. Okay, there's not a judgment call on it. You can totally stay in the relationship if you choose to, but know that you're choosing it. Know that if you're suffering, you're choosing your own suffering. This is hard for people to see. And it's hard because we don't want to believe that we buy into our own suffering. Good morning, Tim. We create our own suffering. We allow the people to treat us like shit. We do. There's a point where you can walk away. Nobody says you have to stay. If it's a toxic relationship, now here's the deal. Sometimes it can get so toxic that it's frightening to walk away. I've been through that, okay? My mother was very afraid to leave my father. I had a very abusive father to my mother, and she was afraid. She was afraid that he was going to harm her. But she got the courage to do it, and she did. Okay, so things can get a little crazy and physical harm and all that stuff. Okay, but there are people, we allow people in our life that are not that way, that are toxic, that talk about us. We talk about other people, and what we're going to give them chances and chances and chances to what? Continue to stay in our life so that we don't continue to live our own life, because all we're doing is getting trapped up and entangled in that drama. We're not doing any good for ourselves. We're getting stuck there, and it's not allowing us to create what it is we want to create in our life. We're getting stuck in the drama. Is there anything wrong with it? No. Just recognize it for what it is. That's all I ask people to do. They don't even have to do that, but I would love for people to be aware that we create our own suffering, because the sooner that we can do that, sooner we can understand that we are the ones creating our own suffering, the easier it is for us to sever or cut off those relationships. Now, does that mean that you're rude and crude? And no, it just means you can love them at a distance. And I will tell you this. I did do some workshops, and I've done the mandala, and you can go back and watch my live videos at Good Morning, Doreen, at certain times, or the video I did for the new year was about the mandala, looking at the people that are in your force field, the people that we allow. So go back and watch that video, because really what it does is it allows us to look at the people that we have in our lives, look at the surrounding, good morning, Joshua, and say, are these people toxic or not? When we walk away from toxic relationships, it hurts. It is hard. It's not easy. It's not this work is never easy. I will never sit here and tell you, oh yeah, it's so easy to manifest. People will be like, oh, the secret. How do I magnify and magnetize my greatest desires? Guess what? This is how. Is it easy? No. They're like, oh, the secret, this and that. It's not all glamour and glitz. To really get this work done and really walk your divine purpose means you get to walk through the fire. Part of that is letting go of toxic people or not, your choice. Okay. I know what I'm doing with my life. Whatever you do with your life is your choice. I'm merely here to facilitate or to be the conduit to support you, to guide you into how do I begin to do this? How do I begin to sort of take the pollution out of my life and start to nurture myself with people who are going to help me blossom into a beautiful flower? Good morning, Raven. Hi. Okay. So letting go, not easy. Now we let go. Good morning, Nina. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. We let go. Okay. And as we let go, it hurts. It starts to feel crabby. And we're like, I'm sad because we're afraid that we're not going to have new people show up in our life. We're afraid that we are not enough to have new people show up in our life. And it's quite the opposite. On the contrary, what ends up happening as people exit your life is new energy starts to arise and blossom within your space. And if you're clear about what it is you want to create and the people that you want to be around, the type of people, then those people will start to sprout up into your space. Yay, I know you caught me live. Yay, that's awesome. It's because I'm doing it a little later. I'm usually doing it super early in the morning. It's crazy. Good morning, DDN63. Let it go. 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 Can't turn around anymore. Okay. So when you make it a strong habit to not take anything personally, you avoid upset in your own life. Your anger, your jealousy, and envy will disappear. And even your sadness will simply disappear if you don't take things personally. I can say that I'm well practiced in this, not taking things personally. And I can say that I've had to practice it on a big, large, grand scale. So on the small scale of not taking things personally, it's people telling you you're not enough, you're this, you're that, or people talk behind your back, or friends, whatever it is, right? And or maybe the trauma of your parents when you were a kid, or whatever it was that came up for you, right? The trigger points for you, the things that ignite the jealousy or the anger, the envy, or I'm not enough. I don't have what they have. How come I'm always without? All of these conversations, when you deal with those small, tiny things, you're able to deal with a bigger thing. Now, I'm not saying they're super tiny at first. So if you're going through the subconscious mind and uprooting all of the jealousy, the envy, the anger, the sadness, all that, and you're trying to figure out the cause of it all, that takes work, and that's not easy. But on the grander scale, when you're starting to let go of that, somehow subconsciously, the universe says, aha, are you ready? Are you sure? And will give you a bigger lesson to learn, which will then bring you back to not taking it personally, which is not easy again. Once you start to work through those smaller problems into the bigger ones, and then you overcome the bigger ones, then it becomes pretty much smooth sailing. Okay. Good morning, Joyce. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Three Wise Monkeys. When we get these bigger problems that we have to deal with, right? The big, 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 I'm going to say juicy ones that are like, ugh, I don't want to deal with it. Those that we don't take personally is hard because some of those things happen. And this is from personal experience that I'm speaking. If you guys have your own experience, please chime in. Please engage. Thank you, Will, for engaging. I'll read your comment just a second. Is that when we have these bigger problems that show up, it's like a dagger in the back. And it comes out of left field by some people that you trust, right? So if you're building out your mandala and you're looking at the people around you and you're like, I love these people. They're great. They're all helping me. I'm all helping them. We're elevating together. And then all of a sudden, the character in the story of your life that you didn't think would backstab you or do something really just wonky, wacky, and harm you does that, right? And then just stabs you in the back. Not taking that personally, is that an easy thing to do? No. Have I gone through it? Yes. Have I taken it personally? Yes. How did I overcome it? Well, forgiveness, right, is a big one. Learning to forgive. Good morning, Patrick. Learning to forgive. Forgive those who have done even the foulest things for you. Now, is it hard for me sometimes? Yes. It's going to be hard for you sometimes. Yes. Why? Because that's life. Life is not easy. People that say life is easy, that's a big lie, because we're in the suffering. What becomes easy is the practice. As we practice these principles, as we live into them and we get better at them, it becomes easy. Then life starts to sail smoothly. We get a little bit closer to our divine truth, a little bit closer to stand on our principles and our morals and not waver from them no matter what comes in our space, because we can identify when it's off. Why? Because our spirit is aligned. When spirit is aligned with the mind, the body, and the soul, our body's walking in integrity, right? We're walking together. Hey, Jacob, was it Jake Black? Okay. Hey, Will. Oh, we got Ralph. Good morning, you guys. Like weightlifting. Oh, yeah, me too. I weightlift as well. Let's take a look at what Will said real quick. Okay, let go. Okay, let it go. People that are toxic, let it go. People that are toxic. It is not other people that define who you are, but it is you who make your life, but keep the people that make you grow. That's correct. Yes, thank you for that. How are you doing? We are doing well. Thank you for asking. I don't know how everybody else is doing on the Podbean podcast, but y'all can communicate. I love when you guys communicate to each other. That's amazing. That's what this is for. Recognize that our brothers and sisters are all going through the same shit, and we're here to say, yep, we are. We are all going through it. Now, when we practice, because you guys know this is practical guide for personal freedom. It doesn't say, I don't know, here's a guide, figure it out. It says practical. Practice it. Practical. It's practical because it's easy. In terms of it's written in a language that's easy. It's put and condensed into a concise way of being able to practice into it. The hard part comes with the practice of it. That's why I said, okay, I can do the 4 agreements, talk about it, and how do we actually live into not taking things personal. The secret sauce that I always talking about. Good morning, Walking in Love. The secret sauce that I always talk about. Forgiveness, gratitude, love. Those 3 things. If you're doing those 3 things, you're doing great. And it sort of happens in that order. Because so for me, and I can talk about this experience that I had, I was basically what happened, okay, and I'm going to give you a little bit of the story. I don't give the full story because I have some privacy in my life, just about that much, which is like tiny, pretty authentic and everything else. But for the sake of other characters, not my place to nail people to the cross. That's not my job. I'm not the judge. I'm here to forgive, right? So here's join to practice and improve my English. Okay, well, there you go. I hope this platform helps you with that. Created something, developed something, made something. And in that something that I made, it started to evolve and grow. And there were characters, people that I felt that I trusted, people that I loved, people that we shared time together. We were, like a sister to me. Loved from the depths of my heart, loved. And things went a little wonky. So I was building what I call the tower of my life, right? I was building the tower, the pyramid. whatever you want to call it. And it was my career. And I was at the pinnacle of my career. And all of a sudden, characters showed up somehow. I don't know how subconsciously yet, still working through that, that ripped apart and took the things that I created and now are saying that they did this. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So the hard part was not the fact that they're doing that. It's the fact that I felt, what is the word? I felt like I was being lied to and that I was being bought off by somebody. I didn't feel that there was a genuine friendship ever, which hurt me because I loved this person. I gave my heart and soul to a friend, to someone that I thought was a friend, an ally, someone who I didn't think would ever even consider harming me, which I would never consider harming them ever, not even a little bit. Like, I love this person. I still do. But what they did was lie, manipulate, and do all these things. Now, am I there to judge what they did? No, that is not my job. So in that, I had to really understand, because in my mind, I'm like, justice, come in and fix this. God, come in and serve your justice. That's not my job. Oh, did I want things to happen? Sure. Did I want to take it into my own hands? Sure. We all do. When something like that, with that magnitude, gets sucked out of us, it's almost like if a partner cheats on their wife. Like, that's terrible. Like, the feeling is awful. It's like, just be authentic and honest with people, because the truth will come out. So why hide it? When you hide it, it's just worse. Well, when that came out, and I understood what was going on in my life, and the pain and the suffering came up, I cried. I sobbed. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, how could somebody do such a thing? I don't even understand it. What did I do? So the questioning started. The deep, 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 deep understanding of, how did this show up in my space? Why, God? Praying and trying to understand. And in the prayer and in all that, and I'm still working through it, because it was a big thing for me, something I had never experienced before, that I trusted this person. Now, how do I overcome this? Forgiveness. Is it easy? It used to be very easy for me to forgive really quick. This has been a hard one. This has been one of the most difficult ones for me. And only because I allowed this person into my space so closely. It's like a sister or a family member doing something and stabbing you right in your back. It's just, to me, I was baffled. I was like, wait, what happened? How did this happen? What did I do? Did I do something? And not even knowing. So in that, forgiveness, right? Forgiveness for the person, forgiveness for the situation, forgiveness for me wanting to go and have thoughts of, like, I don't know, thoughts go through your head, right? When people do something wrong to you, you want to go over there and say something or do something. And rather than that, I forgive and give it to God. Is it an easy thing to do? No. Do I want to smack somebody up? Maybe. But that's my ego, and I check it. And each day, it becomes easier and easier and easier when you practice. When you practice the bigger things, it becomes easier for the smaller things. And before you know it, you live in tranquility and peace and harmony. So nothing can be taken personal. This person, I don't know what's going on with them, but I'm going to forgive them. And then gratitude and thanks for what I do have. And then love. And that is the process that I've told you guys over and over and over again. Is it easy? No. Is it easy sometimes? Yes. Does it get easier? Yes. How? Practice, practice, practice. You're going to hear my live videos and you'll hear the same thing over and over. Practice. It's that simple. Okay. Growth in every area with forgiveness, peace. When it's usually easy, you'll be tested. Yeah. And the trials and tribulations. Thank you. Yes. So true. Walking in love. To reach the next level. Thanks for your humanity. Humility. Sorry. Thank you for chiming in. It is very hard sometimes, and typically forgiveness was an easy one for me. The thing that it's just been a hard one for me. It's been hard. It's been a difficult thing. Now I'm forgiving. I'm loving, and I'm learning to overcome what was done. Is it my problem? No. Whatever led that person to make that decision, I don't know what it was. And it's not my business. The result of making that decision and whatever comes with that is not my problem. But do I need to stay there? No. Do I need to, like, if I forgive this person and love them, do I have to have them as a friend again? No. No, 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 no. That's not how this works. There's a space between us. That's fine. You keep your space. I love you at a distance, and I'm not gonna wish anything ill on you. I still will pray for you. I still love you, but I don't have to keep company with you. You don't have to keep company with the people that are toxic in your life. You don't have to do it. And it doesn't mean that you're bad or that you don't love them. It just means that they're sucking out the life force from you and you're not able to do your great work. It's keeping you from actually doing the work that you get to do here and leave the blessings behind the way that you get to. I can relate. It's easy for me to let a person go and forgive, but harder for me to get back into the flow of being around people and trusting people in general. Yes, it is very hard to come back and trust. That was the biggest thing for me. And I'm glad you said that because the breach of trust at the level that it was breached for me, I'm a pretty trusting person. Well, I don't just give out trust, right? There's a book called Building Trust, and it's smart to build trust with people rather than just give out your trust. That doesn't mean that you can't go out and like engage with people, but really get to know that you're people. And I trusted this person. That was the hardest part for me is that I trusted them 110%. And I didn't know who I could trust after that. So that was a big, hard part for me. Who do I trust? How can I trust? How do I begin to trust again? I trust in God. That's it. I trust God. And in God, everything that we trust, in our faith and everything that we trust, I know that God will put the right people in front of me because I trust God. That has never let me down, ever. And it never will. I don't trust in people, I trust in God. Now, God dwells within people. So, yes, there are trustworthy people. I'm not saying that. But God first, God will guide you. Trust that process. That's another thing. Thanks for bringing that up, Raven. Let it go and trust that what is supposed to come into your space will. You guys don't understand. I am a walking testament. I do this on purpose because I want you guys to see that I can let go and life is going to continue to go on. And I'm not, am I suffering? Yeah, a little bit, but is it bad? No. God's great. I don't ever doubt God. And here's the deal with without doubting God, when I say, God, I know you got me, guess what? I start to get the blessings back in. And I'm trying to show you guys how it works when you let go. I let go. I told you I was doing a whole career change, and I did. I changed my entire career. But guess what? I'm starting to get blessed with other things. Yes, that's why there's contracts. Absolutely. Yes, Raven, contracts are important. Paperwork's important for people. It's so true. And I am getting blessed. So you guys are going to see how I went from, and I wouldn't even say it was nothing. I've never been without. That's the whole point that I'm trying to make. I've never been without. No, have you been without? Really? You guys have food. You guys have a place to sleep, maybe warm, cozy. There are people who are suffering that may not have this. So we are blessed, have blessing for the fact that I get to have a nice cup of coffee with you guys, that I get to be of service to humanity, that I get to give back to humanity, that I get to be in the presence or among beautiful people every morning. Even though I can't see your faces, I know you're with me. I feel you with me. And that I have the blessing of being with you guys. I have the blessing of waking up. I have the blessing of having two legs, of being able to work out, of having insurance to get an iron infusion. I was just in the hospital in an iron infusion, and I still do spirit and coffee. It's because why? Because we are blessed. Now, when we don't take things personally, we then start to, what happens, it's sort of like there's this clogged, so visually, I'm going to tell you this, and then I'll let you guys go. But if you thought about clogged pipes, okay? Good morning, Meow Jung. Meow Jung? Meow Jung. Think about clogged pipes, okay? When we have toxic people, they're clogging our pipes. We put the Drano in and we clear the pipes and the water flows like it's fluid. When you want to drop into the flow of God, when you want to drop into the flow of your creativity and life, you have to unclog, you have to let go, you have to release the toxins that are holding back that flow of energy. That is what you're doing. You're putting Drano in the system. Okay, maybe it's probably not the best thing, but it's okay. You're putting Drano in the pipes, okay? And you're unclogging that drain. So unclog your drain today. Think about it that way. I'm going to unclog my drain so that the water can flow. When you're in the flow of life, you'll know it because it's just almost like this beautiful path. It's like the snow, right? There's snow and you want to drive your car and maybe the people have come to clear the path. Think of God that way. God clears the path for you when you trust in God. And when you let go and you unclog the drain or you unclog the snow on the streets, and then you have this beautiful path you can just go through. Yeah, the chaos is on the side. Yeah, you have snow on either side, but you have this path right in the middle that you can go through. Still get where you need to go. It becomes easier. And then sometimes we waver onto the snow that's 5 feet and we try to like tread through it and we can't. Then we have to, oh yeah, I'm going to go back to the road where it's actually paved for me. Good morning, Joyce. I think I said good morning. So that's how we do it. Get back on the road. You'll know it because it's seamless. It's easy, but you have to forgive. You have to let go. You have to practice letting go of the toxicity. We do that by not taking it personally. Okay. What are the steps or things to say when you're trying not to make take things personal? I just kept saying to myself, don't take it personal when I was in the situation. Well, there's an internal process that happens, Ralph, as well. Just merely saying it isn't gonna, it will help you in the situation, because you're gonna be there and you're gonna say, don't take it personal, take it personal. But the reality is you're probably just denying the fact that you're taking it personal. So in order to overcome it is to go through it. Allow yourself to feel it. So when somebody says something to me that I can feel a trigger point, I don't say anything and I don't say don't take it personal. I allow myself to feel the feeling. I allow it to come up and out. Do I say anything? Not necessarily. My practice is to remain silent and allow myself just to process. We don't allow ourselves to process the information that comes in. The first thing we want to do is reject it, or we want to retaliate, or we want to run. Those are all R's. I like that. Reject, retaliate, or run. Those three things, right? We will reject it, we'll retaliate, or we'll run. I love you too, Raven. Have a good day. We'll be meeting soon. So when we retaliate, we run. So instead of doing that, allow yourself to feel the feelings, allow yourself to go through the process, allow yourself to disconnect if you need to, give yourself a pause, a time out to process it. When you're able to process it and find out why it's making you upset, that is where the power lies. Denying it isn't going to get you anywhere. All that's going to do is you're lying to yourself about something. You're lying that it's bothering you. And in spiritual alchemy, we don't deny. We use everything we have. Our greatest ally could be the acceptance of somebody doing that to us. When we feel like somebody's like triggering us or treating us badly, if we don't retaliate, run, or resist it, we allow ourselves to process it. We understand where it comes from. When we're able to transmute the energy, so when we get to the root of it, there's always a duality within what you're experiencing. The duality is there's one end of the spectrum and the other, and we live in either extreme sometimes. When somebody's triggering something within you, they're igniting an extremity in you. Something that happened. Maybe it's rejection. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I don't matter. Whatever it is that's coming up for you. When you allow yourself to recognize what that is, you can claim back your power on it. When you claim back your power on it and you realize what it is and you forgive it and you truly go through the process of reigniting that or allowing yourself to go through the death of that and rise from the ashes from that particular situation, then you have the power or the energy or the fire to actually co-create with the divine. It is a process. So I would say accept it. Once you do that, Ralph, you will tap into, perhaps, if you get there, and I'm sure you will, or you may have already got there, to some of the most powerful, it's the most powerful energy we have. It is where motivation exists. It's where our divine will and fire exists. Most people don't get there because they're not willing to go through the fire. They just, oh, that's too much, I can't see it. So then they act like they don't, like it's not happening, and then their body starts to respond in a certain way through the parasympathetic system, and then we get sick. And people don't realize that emotion is highly attached to our own sickness and our own suffering within the body as well. So it's all interconnected. It's not like in silos, right? It's not discombobulated or disconnected or disjointed. It's all one thing. So yeah, allow yourself to go. Now, in that sometimes, and for me, and this may not be you, I had an issue with articulating my authentic truth to people because it came out like fire energy, like totally like yelling. And that was not what I wanted. But internally, I didn't know how to deal with what was happening. Now I'm able to pause out, take a breath, and be able to communicate what is coming up internally for me. Now, what does that do? It dissolves conflict. Rather than coming from a place of war, I come from a place of compassion and understanding. It dissolves. It dissolves that other person. They have nowhere to go. They want you to fight back. When you fight back, you're putting the fuel in the fire. They love that. And then they can just fight, and it gives them permission just to yell at you more. But the other day, I had a man call in, right, at my job and yelling at me. And I'm like, okay, dude, you're going through something. I don't know what it is. I don't have to take that kind of treatment. But I get that it's not me. So I told him, I just have to gather some information. And I said, you know what? Thank you for your patience. And he goes, well, I'm sorry. And I was like, it's okay. I appreciate it. I wasn't being condescending. I was simply telling him, I get that you're frustrated. I get that things are going on. He heard it in my voice. He understood that I wasn't saying, oh, thanks for your patience, sir. No. I was like, thank you for your patience. Like, it's okay. I get it. I get that you've been frustrated over this for a while. I get that you've probably been patient about trying to get the information you want. And I'm asking you to be a little bit more patient, but you've probably already been. So I appreciate that. And it's okay. We can get through this. Give me just a moment and I'll help you out. There's a different come from. If I would have got triggered by this and allowed myself to take it personally, him and I would have not had a conversation. He would have hung up and he would have never came in. He actually came in. So it takes practice, is it? That's all. Understand yourself and you'll understand humans. You are human. So instead of trying to figure out other people, figure yourself out and then you'll understand everybody else. All right. So there you have it. Beautiful talk. Um, Thank you guys for showing up. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have the most beautiful day ever. And I love you guys. And thank you guys for showing up for yourself. And I'm super excited. Like I keep telling you, a lot is going to happen with Spirit and Coffee. So excited. So grateful. And I love you guys. Oh, yes, absolutely, Margot. Thank you for joining. You're always welcome to join, Margot. So have a good day. Love you, mean it. Bye. Anytime.